Developing Nuanced Thinking Through Discussion, Carl Seineath. Often when students consider complex questions, such as whether race should be considered in the college admissions process, students are given the impression by the structure of the question and method of discussion that the issue is dichotomous. They often conclude that race should either play a huge role or no role at all. They are told to take a stand and to get off the fence. Although there are some questions that lend themselves to either-or thinking, many do not. And in fact, on complex issues of public discourse, the stand that many people take is more nuanced. In order to help students develop this kind of nuanced thinking, teachers must change the structure of the question to discourage simplistic responses, and the structure of the discourse to encourage diverse thinking across the continuum. This allows students to respond to a complex question with a sophisticated, often conditional answer. With this structure, a teacher might have students respond in writing to the question represented on the continuum as shown, encouraging them to make a claim and to support that claim with relevant specific evidence and persuasive reasoning. After students have the opportunity to write, they can either put their initials on the continuum in a place that represents their view, or they can physically populate the continuum as suggested in the graphic. Once students' positions are clear, the teacher can group students based on their views. Then students can work in these groups to develop more sophisticated claims, integrate diverse specific evidence, interpret that evidence, and connect their interpretations back to their claim. The first group that shares with the class should articulate this view and their thought process. Each subsequent group should respond by framing their view in the context of what has already been said. They should enter the conversation. Groups should strive to integrate multiple perspectives into their view. This is a task of high cognitive demand that requires attentive listening and incisive reasoning. Groups can also ask clarifying questions and affirm that they understand others' views. Such discussion requires students to learn the syntactical structures of complex thinking, such as subordination and the use of conjunctive adverbs like however. Students also have the opportunity to move along the continuum if they are persuaded by another group. After each group is shared, the teacher can immediately open up the discussion or give students a few minutes to discuss in their groups. This is an excellent time to encourage students to enter the conversation who have not yet spoken. When students are new to this process, the teacher facilitates the discussion, ensuring that students are being respectful, accurate, and rigorous. However, over time, as students move from being peripheral to full participants in this community of practice, they internalize many of these discursive moves, and the teacher can begin to fade into the background. Another option at this point in the discussion is to form groups of students who have diverse views on this topic. Because they disagree, they can help each other formulate authentic counterarguments and refutations that deepen their original arguments. In addition, the teacher can introduce sources if they have not already been introduced prior in the discussion. Once the students comprehend the central message of the source, they can indicate where they think that source lies on the continuum. Of course, sources can be integrated at any point in the discussion or at various points, depending on the teacher's purpose. Groups can even be formed around the sources, and the question or topic can be viewed through the lens of that source. After students have engaged in this discursive process, they can return to their original writing, and the process of informal reasoning in this social setting should have acted as a kind of dress rehearsal for the internal dialogue that occurs during revision as students deepen their arguments by considering multiple views and synthesizing them into a coherent position. Ultimately, this process and its infinite variations help students develop sophisticated positions, integrate relevant specific evidence, interpret that evidence, connect their interpretations to their claims, consider alternative views, and justify their conclusions. Though this process is flexible, it does not work well for all types of questions. For example, it would not work particularly well for questions such as, what factors should the Supreme Court consider when deciding what role race should play in college admissions? However, it can help students move from either-or thinking to nuance. For a flexible approach to factor-style questions, such as the one I just mentioned, I'll have to make another video. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.